Hi, I'm Brittany Rizzo, and welcome back to My Only Friends. Today, you'll hear probably one of my favorite conversations with one of my new favorite people. I had the pleasure of speaking with Maiara Walsh. Maiara Walsh is a true multi-hyphenate creative, Brazilian-American actress, director, writer, producer, and singer. Her work spans film, television, music, and art. She has built a creative practice rooted in bold storytelling and artistic independence, most recently bringing her directorial debut feature film, BIGHT, a psychological thriller with a distinct visual identity from concept to screen. Known from her Disney Channel days on Cory in the House to her work on Desperate Housewives and leads on hit Brazilian shows on Netflix, Maiara isn't interested in staying in a single lane. Whether on screen, behind the camera, or in the recording studio, Maiara brings a fearless authenticity to everything she creates. This episode reminds me of the Friends episode, the one with the cuffs. One of my favorite episodes of Friends ever. Chandler is dating Rachel's boss, Joanna, and Rachel walks into her boss's office to find Chandler handcuffed with no pants on. In Maiara's new film, BIGHT, she explores the artistry of shibari, a traditional Japanese form of rope bondage. After my conversation with Maiara, I felt so energized. We cover the nostalgia of the 90s, the way we combat our anxiety, and how beautiful it is to cultivate friendships with strong women in our 30s. You can watch BIGHT, starring Maiara Walsh and my dear friend Cameron Copperthwaite, out today on Apple Plus and Amazon. Please enjoy my conversation with Maiara Walsh.
I'm not like upside down or anything.
No, oh my God, you're totally fine. And even if you were, it's audio only, so I would just accept it.
Oh,
I would you talk
fantastic.
upside down, it'd be great.
That actually sounds kind of fun.
Oh my gosh, this sounds so weird because I feel like I know you because
Uh,
we have so many mutuals all of a sudden. And like,
yes.
I have been seeing your face so much. And it was so funny because in the past like year, I had watched Desperate Housewives for the first time. And like
Mm-hmm.
right when I finished it, I think is when you and Cam started working together.
That's
So
funny.
like all of a sudden I literally opened my phone and I was like, I'm so confused right now. Like, is that the same person? Because I had just really like gotten introduced to you on screen and then I see Cam with you and I was like, okay,
What is going on here?
it's so funny because that totally happened to me the first time I watched Gilmore Girls.
Mm-hmm.
I left my apartment and I heard the voice of Michelle and I was like, am I just like so enthralled in this world right now? Because that's how I get. But it happens to be that my neighbor was helping him run lines. And I was like, am I in psychosis?
But how interesting is it that it's like when you are watching these projects, like a character appears from them in real life.
I know. So I'm like, Jennifer Aniston, Jennifer Aniston, Jennifer Aniston.
Yes, yes.
Oh my gosh. Well,
Also,
so nice to meet you.
speaking of Jennifer's, you did a podcast with Jennifer Stone, who's my best friend.
That is also another connection we have that I just saw.
Yes.
We're somehow very connected in this. And
Just orbiting each other's field.
no, Jen is the best.
She's truly like the most grounded, amazing, hilarious, talented person. I can just sing her praises forever.
I know. You were on Disney at the same time.
We were on Disney at the same time. I think we were even working at the same studio, but we didn't have much crossover. We
Mhm.
were across the way from The Sweet Life of Zach and Cody. So
Mhm.
I ran into them a lot more and almost never saw them over on wherever they were on their side.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. This town is so small. Once you like throw a pebble and you hit one person, all of a sudden it's like ding, 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 ding. And we know all of, because a good friend of mine was the producer on Sweet Life of Zach and Cody. And I worked for his ex-wife and we do Jason Dolly's hair.
Wow.
I know. It's so
Crazy.
but what's so funny is like because we were gonna do this interview a little bit differently today with you and
Yes.
your co-star, and now it's just you. So I've been like in a deep dive of you. I was like, I'm watching Cory in the House. I'm like, wait, is that Jason? It's so funny.
It's
Like
hilarious.
little baby Jason, because I of course associate him with Good Luck Charlie. But then seeing him, like, I was like, wait, look at that hair. Oh my God.
That was the iconic. His hair was iconic
Okay.
in that project.
You look exactly the same.
Thank you.
Like, I am like, you literally look like you're still 16.
Thank you. I don't think that's true, but I appreciate that. My mom didn't look her age until she was probably hitting 50, 55. It's great now. I love it now.
Yeah.
But when I was like 14 and 15, I looked like I was 9.
Oh. Yeah.
And like nobody wants to look younger than they are when they're
I
a teenager.
know. Isn't that so funny when people tell you like you have a baby face and you're young? You're like, that's so mean. I'm not
You're
a
like,
baby.
no, I don't. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And now I'm like, I live next to a high school, and when school gets let out, I'm like, they probably think I'm waiting for my mom, and I love it.
Right? No, for real. You've got a baby face too.
It's the best. I'm like, when people are like, "Oh my god, I thought you were only," I was like, thank you so much." You get carded, and you're like, "Oh my god, I'm so young."
That's great.
Wait, so you're in Rio right now?
Yes, I'm shooting a show out here right now. And I'm half Brazilian, so I come out here every year anyways to visit my family. But I was literally just visiting in December, and the timing was crazy because I let go of my apartment in LA on November 1st of last year. And I was like, I'm done with LA for a bit. I'm moving out of the country. And I was planning on going to Barcelona, which I've gone to many, many times over my life. I've got like a great group of friends over there. And then I was visiting Rio, and a production company I had already worked with was like, hey, there's a role we think you'd be great for. Are you open to working on this project? But you have to be in Rio in 2 weeks to kind of get started. And I was like, whoa. It was not my original idea, but I was like, I was ready to start a new chapter, a new phase of life. So let's go. I'm ready.
You're good with change and letting things go, I assume, because that's
It
a
depends.
change.
It depends what it is. You have to
Mhm.
realize, like, I have this space that I had actually built out with Mark, who's one of the producers on BIGHT. And I think he was there for 6 years. I was there for 7. I thought I would have that place forever.
Mhm.
So the letting go of that spot was very difficult. So it depends what the thing is. But once I make the decision, I'm like, I'm open and ready for whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, I could imagine, like, so how long had you been living in LA?
Oh my gosh, since I was 10.
Yeah. Where
Yeah,
did you move from there?
I was born in Seattle. My mom's Brazilian. We moved to São Paulo when I was like 1 or 2 years old for a couple years, then back to Seattle till I was 10, and then in or around LA the rest of the time.
Okay. And now this is like the question I ask everybody, because I always feel like when I was little and I was watching Lizzie McGuire, I'm like, well, how
Mhm.
did she get on there? Like, how did she do that? So you're 10, you go from Seattle to LA. Did you move specifically to LA because you were acting, or
No, not at all. My parents are both very much into education. My mom was getting her master's degree, so there was a school that she was going to in Southern California. I had always loved the arts since as long as I could remember. So I got to LA, I was 10, and I was like, oh, I can actually pursue this dream of mine now.
Mhm.
But we knew nothing.
Yeah.
I got scammed. Like, I don't know if you remember John Robert Powers back in the day.
Oh my God, I'm so happy you brought this up, because
Uh-huh.
I will say, like, what in the John Robert Powers is this? And nobody knows what I'm talking about.
Stop. Do you really?
I remember the mall kiosk. I remember
Yes.
that had a picture. Do you remember AJ Troth from Even Stevens?
You mean like they had a picture of him?
They had a picture of him, like, as like I signed as John Robert Powers,
Hilarious.
and now I'm on Disney Channel. Like,
Yeah, they made it sound like they were going to get you jobs and that they would get you auditions. And then every time we were like, hey, where are these auditions? They were like,
yeah.
oh, you need more classes.
Oh my
And
God.
then, a year goes by and you're like, what? And then I did this like IMTA thing,
Uh-huh.
International Models Talent, whatever. And
Yeah.
you had to spend a bunch of money to like compete. And then finally we were like, I think this is a scam.
Like, we're broke and we are not on
Yes.
television. I think this is not legit. Oh
100%.
my.
Honestly, I just ended up getting an agent through my friend's mom.
Okay.
So that's how that happened. And then I booked my very first audition, which was a commercial for these dolls with big heads called Diva Stars.
Stars.
Yes.
I'm so happy right now, because I literally talk about Diva Stars too, and nobody knows what
No
I'm talking about.
way.
And I
I
just
love
watched
this.
this. I know me. I have goosebumps because I get full body chills when I get really excited about something.
Uh-huh.
I was just talking about Diva Stars because a Cinderella story. I showed it to my nephew for the first time,
Uh-huh.
and in the opening scene, she has a Diva Star on her nightstand.
She does, doesn't she? That's so funny. I completely forgot.
Diva Stars
But
were
yeah,
the original Bratz. Okay.
yes, 100%. Oh my God. I'll have to send you I found the commercial last year
Please.
and I died laughing. My voice
She
is
was,
so high.
yes, she's like the original Alexa. She'd wake you up and be like, it's 5 o'clock in the morning. Like, I burned her hair off with a curling iron. I remember I wanted to do her
Amazing.
hair.
Oh my God, the things that we did to our dolls. I
I
like
know.
chopped their hair off. I
Their
painted
bangs.
clothes on them. I mean, I like they had full buzz heads by the time I was done with them.
Like Sid from Toy Story, like all your Barbies are just like
Yeah.
have legs for arms.
Yes. 100% that was me.
That's amazing. So also it's kind of amazing that your parents, after going through John Robert Powers of it all, were still like, yeah, we'll keep trying. We'll keep going.
Totally. And I also appreciate them because they were not in the arts whatsoever for them to be supportive while also like you got to keep your grades up. I was really lucky. I mean, my mom drove me around to auditions during high school. Also, it's so funny. I think I was listening to Cam's podcast just right
Mhm.
before this. He like booked or like almost booked his first thing. And then it's like, oh, this is easy. Like, why do people complain about this?
Yeah.
And then you get started, and then instead of you booking every audition, it's like 9 months later, maybe you book something, and then
Mhm.
more months or like a year or this or that. And then it kind of just
Mhm.
turns into this never ending cycle of when's the next one going to come up?
Mhm. Mhm. So you book the Diva Stars commercial and then you're like, okay, F you,
I'm like,
John
oh,
Robert Powers. I
yeah.
have made
I'm like,
it. I don't need
I
you.
got this. I was like, this is great. This is exactly what I'm supposed to do. And then I don't know. I'm someone that once I get something in my head, I'm pretty stubborn about it, and I'll just be like, I'm gonna make it happen. It might take me longer, but I'm still gonna not stop until I get there. I mean, I remember watching Disney Channel around that age, which is funny because I was actually a Nickelodeon girl. I was
Interesting.
through and through a Nickelodeon girl. I liked their comedy. It was a little bit darker, a little
Yeah.
less perfectly put together. I
Yeah.
loved like all that and like their sketch shows and Alex Mack. And also, do you remember the Olsen twin detective movies?
Olsen Detective Agency will solve any crime by dinner time.
You
Are you
got
kidding?
it.
Are you kidding?
Yes, this is so
I
fun.
know. I know.
I haven't talked about this stuff in so long.
This makes me so happy. Alex Mack is having a resurgence too, because I was just
No.
talking with my friend because we were talking about. He was like, "You remember those Capri Sun commercials where they'd all turn into like liquid and like they were so cool?" And I was like, "Yeah, like Alex Mack." And he was like, "I don't know what that is." And I was like, "Woof." And then literally like the next week, Hillary Duff was on Jimmy Fallon talking about Alex Mack, and I was like, everybody's talking about Alex Mack now." Those shows were so cool.
They were so cool. They were so good. I haven't watched them now as an adult. Like I want to go back and watch them and see if I still think they're that cool. They probably will be to me because it's just nostalgic at this
Yes.
point. But yeah, so I was actually always a Nickelodeon girl, but I did watch Disney Channel and I remember watching Disney being like, I could do that. Yeah, I could do that.
Yeah.
Why not? But then by the time I was 18 and booked a Disney show, I wanted to be Natalie Portman. And I was like, what am I doing here? Kind of thing.
Mm.
And it took me a full season to like really allow myself to kind of just like let go of whatever preconceived notions I had. I remember I cried the day that the show came out. I was like, whoa, my life is never going to be the same. And nothing is like what I pictured it would be. It was so crazy.
Were you feeling that like in a good way or a bad way?
I think it was both, a
Yeah.
combination of both. Because I was auditioning for like a lot of cool stuff at the time. And then that's what I ended up booking. And again, I'm so grateful. And I was even grateful on the show. And like,
Right.
I made like, they were my family members at that point in time. I considered myself someone who was like a serious actress. I wanted to be a serious actress. And it took me a while to like really, again, just allow myself to have fun. The moment I allowed myself to have fun, I had the best time ever.
Yeah. I mean, I could imagine that's interesting and understandable because when you are 18 and you've been working as an adult since you were 10, basically, when you're making money and working on sets, and then you're auditioning, you're 18, you are older than the majority of the people who are on Disney Channel. And you do want to act your age. But again, it's also like such an amazing experience and like accomplishment to be on Disney Channel, and you don't know it's in its prime in that
Yeah.
moment, you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
of
But
course
like,
not. Right.
I mean, now I don't know that somebody would be that stoked to book a Disney
Yeah.
Channel show, you know, because
Right.
the format's so different. So like
Mhm.
you were kind of there when it was in the last of its kind, which is
I
pretty
know.
amazing.
I know. And like I said, I'm grateful and I had such a blast, especially that second season. And, I mean, again, like I still just know so many people
Right.
from that time period who are
Yeah.
still really close to me.
Yeah. Because I did Wizards and that's how I know Jen. So it was like,
Hmm.
that was one of the best times of my life, you know,
Oh,
and
so fun.
met so many people. And like you said, you have so much fun and you become like this weird little family. And like all these years later, it still pops up in my life in the best ways. But again, I could imagine when you're 18 playing a young person on television
Mhm.
and you're growing and expanding. And then you kind of have like this arrested development a little bit.
Absolutely. And I struggled with that a lot. And, I think I even struggled with it afterwards. It was funny because it felt like starting over. It's not like you get up for the most part, unless, you were like Miley Cyrus or Selena. It wasn't like you got off the Disney and people were just banging down your door to like
Right.
have you work on different projects. So I felt like I was starting all over again. And then I just got into this string of booking the same roles over and over again, which was just like the teenage rebellious bitch. And again, I was grateful to be working, but I was like, that's not who I am. I want to be playing different roles that like speak to me on an artistic level.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But looking back, I'm so grateful that I wasn't booking the roles I wanted to because I started writing when I was 20.
Mm.
And I realized once I started writing, I would do that the rest of my life as well in
Right.
tandem. And I think if I had had the type of success that I had wanted and booked the roles that I had wanted, I would not now have so much writing and directing experience under my belt.
Mhm. Mhm. That's such a hard lesson to learn, and I learn it in the tiniest ways or in the biggest ways, but, like, really just accepting that, like, things work out the way they're supposed to. Like, yeah, you can look at something and go, "That was a shitty experience. I wish I didn't have to go
Yeah.
through that," but, like, you do learn something when you do, as much as it will suck sometimes in the moment, but also, like, things can work out even better than you have imagined.
For
It's
sure.
I think that's such a hard lesson to learn because I am the type of person too, when I like freak out really fast, I'm like, let me have my meltdown first. And then I'll get,
Yeah.
oh, this worked out even better. So I need to calm down. But it's hard when
Yeah.
you're a young person,
For
especially.
sure, because you don't have experience that comes with age to see the full
Mhm.
circle. You're just right there in that beginning, and everything feels like life and death in those
Mhm.
moments.
Mhm.
It sounds like you struggle with anxiety too. I had acute panic disorder from the age of 7. Everything was always heightened, and I was always just in this unbelievable state of anxiety that was just pressurized by the pressures of the industry and the highs and the lows. And I feel grateful at this point where I'm at now, where I have been able to slow down a little bit and see the puzzle pieces and how they're starting to fit together. But back then, I couldn't see them.
Right. You had it since you were 7. What was the moment where, like, did your parents notice something or were you like, oh my
Oh, yeah, it
gosh?
was a
Yeah.
very specific moment. It was the most random thing triggered it. I was on the playground with my best friend, and I remember this kid was running around like a little T-Rex, and then he threw up just like this orange, gross throw up. And then I remember my best friend said, "Oh my God, that is the grossest thing that you could possibly do. Like, I never want to throw up again, or I never want to throw up." And something just snapped
Mm.
in my brain and I was like, "Oh my God, I can't throw up." So I stopped eating because I was like, I don't eat, then I can't throw up. And then like, I didn't eat for like 10 days. I had to be hospitalized. It was really intense.
Oh my
And then
gosh.
from that moment on, I had, just horrible night terrors and I had a very overactive imagination. I still do. I have better tools now to deal with
Yeah.
that. And also
Yeah.
writing is such a great place for me to channel that hyperactivity of the imagination. But yeah, life was just wildly confusing as a child, as it is for most kids. And I was really sensitive and really empathetic. I'm sure you can probably relate to
Yeah.
that. Like, I'm
Yeah.
still sensitive now, but I have like better boundaries now than I
Yes.
used to.
Yes. Yes. I literally just sent a meme to my girlfriend. It was like, Oh, so this is a mental illness and I don't just have an incredible imagination. Like, that's me and the majority of my friends. It's that like quick to react. Oh my gosh, this is life or death. Like it is very much that. And it's been like that since I was a child over the smallest
Mhm.
things too. So I deeply relate and I empathize so much because you don't realize
Yeah.
how much of your energy and like almost innocence it takes away.
Well, and also I thought I had this like thing where I thought I was going to die every day. I thought every day was my last day on
Mhm.
planet Earth.
Yeah.
And people are like, "Oh yeah, live each day like your last." I'm like,
You're
"Fuck
like, I am.
no." You
You're
know,
like,
I
I am.
am, and it's brutal.
Yeah.
Imagine if you actually thought you were going to die every day and how stressful that is.
Yeah. What about OCD? That feels a little.
I had some OCD as a kid as
Yeah.
well. My OCD doesn't really show up in like physical things
Same.
now
It's
like it used to.
mental.
It's like those thoughts that can, intrusive thoughts that can
Mhm.
loop. But holy shit, I would just say in the last, I don't know, I'm now feeling peace right now, but it's been a lifelong struggle. I mean, I've had more panic attacks than I can count. Like it was very difficult.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I mean, part of me, my heart is like bursting because I feel very seen right now. And that
Yep.
feels nice to like know that
Hmm.
somebody who is so beautiful and successful and kind also feels this way. But I don't like that you feel that way also,
Oh,
like I don't want you to both
I
through
would
that.
not wish this on my
No.
worst enemy.
I'm also grateful for you sharing that experience because
Yes.
I feel like, okay, I'm not alone. And that is
Yeah.
literally going to make me cry because that is why I want to do this. Anything is
Hmm.
to make people feel less alone. And like, so thank you for sharing that. Like, that's,
Of course, I think the more honest we can be with these things, the more we allow ourselves as a society to
mhm.
recognize where we may be feeling that way as well. And like you said, not feel so alone.
And we think too, especially in the acting world, if I just book this job, all my problems will go away.
No,
That's so not true.
it's so not true. Yeah.
Yeah. With having this panic disorder and auditioning, like, I could imagine that it felt very high stakes if you did or didn't get a job. So what were some tools that you had to manage that and like
You know,
disappointment?
it's funny because I actually think that was less of the stressful part because for me, when I'm thinking about living or dying on a daily basis,
Right.
something like an audition doesn't hold as much weight as my actual life.
Right. Right.
And again, I always try to look at silver linings of things. So the fact that I thought about my mortality on a daily basis made me very clear about what I wanted to do in life.
Mm,
I think a lot of people who kind of, let's say, just go through life in whatever a quote unquote normal way is, and then let's say find out they have a terminal illness or that someone close to them is going to pass away, they suddenly start looking at their own lives and are like, am I
right.
doing the job I want to be doing? Am I being the kind of person I want to be? Etc. Whatever those questions might be for someone. And because I was asking myself those questions every day, I knew beyond a doubt what I was going to do. So I would get
Mm,
frustrated, and I'm not a patient person. I've had to learn patience.
hmm
So I think that was the part that was most irritating was the frustration and the impatience
hmm
versus the life or death. I need, like, why didn't I get this role? Of course,
Right.
there were a couple that really hurt because they felt like they were tailored towards me, and every
Mm,
actor has those.
yeah.
But I think it, like I said, it just wasn't as valuable as my physical life.
Do you mind me asking which role were you like, damn?
There were a couple. I'll tell you two. One's known, and the other one was why I started writing. I booked this job about this addict who had recovered, and I had a lot of people around me who suffered from addiction, and I'd always wanted to play a role that touched on addiction. And I booked the job, and this young woman had written a book. I tore through the book, I devoured it. I was so excited. And then she relapsed. And you can't have a film about redemption. And
Yeah.
if the person relapses, it was twofold. I was so devastated for her. And also,
Right.
I didn't get to play this role that I wanted to play. And that's when I was like, well, if they're not going to give it to me, I'm going to write it. And then another one was The Hunger Games.
Oh.
So I remember I tore through the book and the books, and I immediately called my agent. I was like, just get me an audition for this. And they
hmm
said, well, it's already going to Jennifer Lawrence. And I was like, damn it. But I was
That's
so bummed.
Yeah. Yeah. I have a girlfriend who looks a lot like her and they were auditioning for a lot of the same parts. She's like, don't send me anything of her. Like
Yeah.
it still stings for her.
The funniest part though, talk about a kind of fucked up cosmic comedy moment is like a few years later, I ended up playing her in the spoof of the
Yes, I
movie.
saw that. Yes.
Oh my God. I was like, wow, universe, whoever's out there, you're funny, hilarious. I still got to
Yeah.
play the role, but just absurd version of it
Yeah. Was Desperate Housewives before or after Cory in the House?
after.
Okay. Wow. This
Mhm.
timeline is crazy. I feel like the
Mhm.
early 2000 to 2010, like nothing makes sense to me.
Yes.
So you're done with Disney. Cory in the House is over. And how soon after did you get Desperate Housewives?
I think in my mind it was much more time than it really was, but I think I was 19 or 20 when I finished Cory in the House. And I think I was 20 or 21 when I did Desperate Housewives. So it wasn't like a huge gap, but I remember the time in between those things felt enormous.
Right, right. Did you feel like that was a turning point in your career? Like, oh, I'm getting to play like a meatier role and more grittier show than Disney Channel?
It felt like a move in the right direction.
Yeah.
But the role, again, was the bitchy, rebellious teenager.
Right.
So I was grateful to be working on Desperate Housewives, and that show. Working with Eva Longoria was awesome. She was such a boss
Iconic.
woman,
Yeah.
iconic, absolutely. So I loved the set and I loved the people I was working with. The role wasn't the most exciting role for me in mind at that time.
Right. Right. And this is about the time you start writing.
I would say, oh yeah, because I guess it was around that time. I don't remember which one came first. Maybe it was Desperate Housewives first, and then maybe I had booked the one I really wanted that fell through. All I know it was all around that time period. So
Yeah.
yeah,
But also, it's like peak television. Like you literally were on
again,
peak television. It's
so much
so
gratitude.
yeah.
So very grateful for it.
But
You know, I wouldn't trade those experiences for the
this
world.
is a common theme though. Like I think that you need space from it. Like there's so many celebrities and iconic characters. I'm obsessed with Hilary Duff on another level. It's ridiculous.
Uh-huh.
Has been talking a lot about it too. Like it took her a good 10 years to love Lizzie McGuire and own Lizzie McGuire.
For
So
sure.
I think, yeah, I think it's a totally normal thing that you feel like now there's so much gratitude and space for it. But you're like, I want these certain things and I want to expand and work the muscles of this creative thing that's flowing inside of me.
Absolutely. And I think, you know, at that time, especially for a lot of young up and coming actresses or actors, whatever, like you do see a kind of path for you. I don't know what it was for Hilary Duff, but for me, it was Natalie Portman, right? And so there's a big difference between the roles Natalie Portman was doing at my age back then and
Yeah.
something like a Desperate Housewives, which again, gratitude for doing it, but they're just very different.
What's your favorite Natalie Portman film?
Black Swan.
Of course.
I
So
love Black Swan. I
I
also
actually need
love
to watch that again.
I do too. I've seen it like 4 times, but I haven't seen it in a few years. I also love Garden State. I think she's adorable in that. Closer. I mean, she's great in freaking everything she does. She's iconic.
She's unreal. She's so good. I remember, I mean, I was obsessed with Mila Kunis. So Black Swan, I was just like, I ate that up. But I actually just saw this post. It was like, if you have OCD movies to watch, and Black Swan was one of them. And I'm like, interesting. I think the last time I saw it was when it came out. I don't know how that is a theme in there, but because it's been so
Mhm.
long. But now I'm like, oh,
Mhm.
I need to watch this again, though.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Absolutely.
Oh, man. Okay. Well, speaking of writing, what made you want to start directing? When did you first start directing also?
Yeah, it's interesting. I was writing and I was like, all right, if I want my writing work to get out there, then I need to write a short film. And so I started meeting with different directors on a short film that I had written. And I didn't connect with any of their visions. And then a friend of mine asked, why don't you just direct it? And I thought about it. And at that point, because I also had been doing a lot of music in my 20s, and I had put together this 30-person immersive musical show that I directed, and I really enjoyed that process. So I thought, all right, let me try this out. And then I fell in love with directing as well. And I'm like, this is another thing I will do the rest of my life. I love bringing people together. I love collaborating. I love working with actors. Here's where my OCD helps is with the visual aspect of things. So everything in the frame to me needs to feel or look like a painting.
Mm.
I probably hyper focus on that stuff, but I like building worlds. I want people to be transported whenever they watch a film of mine or whatever it is that I'm doing. And I love films that transport you as well.
So let's get into Bite. I watched it last
Mhm.
night. What's so funny is like, so I just celebrate my birthday is on Thursday, or is it Thursday? Yeah. My birthday's on,
Thursday?
yes.
Happy
So
early
thank
birthday.
you. So I celebrated over the weekend and I was with Cam and I was watching this. I was like, this is not the guy I just saw dancing to Old School T-Pain over the weekend. Let me tell you that. It was so funny because I literally watched it the day after I saw him and I was, this is just so funny to be
funny.
watching after like, I have a video of him like dancing to Miley Cyrus. Like, it's just so funny.
Completely different people.
Actors, man. He's so good.
Yeah.
What was like the origin, the genesis of this story?
It was 2020 and I had wanted to direct a different project that had a cast of, I don't know, 20 people. And then the pandemic hit.
Mm.
And I was like, that's not going to work. What can we write with 4 characters in one location? And Cam and I had been friends for a really long time at that point, and I'd always wanted to write with him. He was a very, it's the word, not cautious. When someone is like dragging their feet and doesn't want to do something that they're good at, like he was very avoidant about his skill as a writer. And that was always very frustrating to me because I
So you're like,
know
you
what a
can
good
jump
writer he
in.
is.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then he was forced to, he wasn't forced to say yes, but I mean, we were both sitting at home in our respective homes and we had nothing but time. So I was like, all right, well, there's this location that I know that I can control. I was again living with Mark at that time. I really wanted to write him a meaty role, and it was cool to have the control
You
to
guys were
write.
living together. That's so fun.
Yeah.
One of my questions was like, how did you cast this? Did you have people in mind? And no, yes,
Uh-huh.
that is
Yep,
true.
yep. Mark was a good producer and like he just good at putting things together and making sure things reach the finish line. So and then Cam was obviously going to do it because we were writing together. And then Maya came in because I had met her for maybe one conversation on one day of a set of a movie we were working on. And I just remember loving her presence. And I didn't know if she would be open to such dark material. So she was like, let me read this. Give me a minute. Let me think about it. And she said yes, thankfully. And I can't imagine anyone else in that role. She did such a great job.
Oh my gosh, so good. I mean, I kept thinking like, what did you guys do? But now knowing you had relationships with Tam and Mark prior, I'm sure that helped. But it is a very vulnerable, very dark, very intense
Hmm.
movie. And how did you create a space? Like, did you guys do certain things or like bonding work to really feel
Absolutely.
safe in that environment? And
Yes.
yeah.
We ended up having 3 months of rehearsal time, which is unheard of.
Yeah.
And that rehearsal time really allowed us to get to know each other, really allowed us to talk about every single scene. So by the time we started, everything felt so seamless and effortless. Like that was the least difficult part of the process, was just the connection everyone had with each other and the presence we had with one another. And I wish that we could have that much rehearsal time with different
Right.
projects because you know how it is. Most of the time, you're just showing up on set. You've never even met the person. You're like, hey, how are you? All right, I guess we're doing this scene now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, in those really intense scenes, when you're calling cut, what is a way? Because I mean, I'm sitting there watching it, like holding my breath, and you got to shake it off somehow. So, what's a way
Mm.
especially because you wrote it, you're directing it, and you're acting in it? So, I
Mhm.
guess there's like a two-part question of like, how are you able to switch your brain from, okay, I'm in this scene and directing it at the same time? And
Mhm.
also, how do you shake off the performance to go, okay, let me put my director hat back on? Like, what are some things that you would do for yourself?
So I think for the most part, I wasn't calling cut, but then when cut was called, I would create physical distance because I was usually watching on the monitor right after. And
Hmm.
I'd kind of step behind the camera. I don't really love the idea of being in scene with an actor, totally present, and then like right then just turning to them and giving them a note. It just
Right.
feels like it creates some kind of, I don't know, strange feeling between the two people. So I like to create distance. I don't know why, but it's easy for me to shift and out of director hat or actor hat. Like I enjoy doing it. Even when it comes to myself, I can look on the monitor and just kind of be like, oh, she needs to do this, talking about myself,
Right.
which is helpful and strange. But then I would give my notes from usually from behind the camera whenever I could.
Yeah. Yeah. It's such a layered movie. And like you're wearing all these hats. What did you do at the end of the day to wind down?
Oh God, I don't even remember. I mean, I think we were still even working on certain set pieces for the next day. Like it just didn't stop. There wasn't really a wind down period. And that goes for like Cameron and Mark as well. We were all doing 1,000 things, running around. Here's the thing. We're all good multitaskers, but we each should have had 3 to 4 tasks maximum. But because it was so low budget and we didn't have the luxury of having more team members, we're running around doing 15, 16, 17 things. And I know that they have said it was kind of even helpful sometimes because you would just have to drop into the scene. Like that's it. You don't really have
Yeah.
time to work
You can't
yourself
think.
into it.
Yeah.
It was an interesting combination of things. I definitely look forward to having a budget so that I can focus on those 3 or 4 things rather than the 15.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Now, where did the inspiration for this movie come from?
I loved the idea of having 2 couples. I love the movie Closer. I wanted us to write something that kind of felt like a play. We only have really one location. How do you keep it dynamic? How do you keep it moving? We were feeling very constricted and confined because it was locked down. And a neighbor of mine had told me about Shibari for the first time. I'd never heard about it. And when I was thinking about what is the tool that's going to keep these 2 characters together, obviously we live in LA. I know so many artists. I was like, all right, 2 artist couples. One of them is super successful, looks like they have the life, and then the other couple is struggling. And that's such a real feeling, whatever city you're living in. LA, it's even
Yeah.
more pronounced.
Yeah.
And then I sent Cam some photos. I was like, look up Shibari. Here's some photos. What do you think about this? And there was something that was beautiful about the art form. Obviously, there was aspects of eroticism, but there was something slightly mysterious. And because it's something mainstream, at least at that time, people didn't really know too much about. I thought it was a really interesting world that we could dive into. And the research around it was really fascinating. And the ropes that tied each character together, both literally and figuratively, felt like a thematic tool that worked well for the film.
Mm-hmm. Oh gosh, I can like see it all in my brain because I just watched it, and I don't know if we have probably on Cam's podcast. I talk about how notoriously I am a baby. Anything that is suspenseful or thriller or any of the sort.
I was listening to that and I was like, wait, you watched the movie? Whoa.
Well, you want to know? God, I can't ruin it, but there was a part where I was like, "Oh, it's just red paint," and then I learned real quickly. I was like so relieved at one. I was like, "Oh my God, I was scared for nothing. It's just red paint." And then I was like,
Sorry.
I'm literally, I text Cam the opening scene. I was like, and I'm scared. You guys are great together. And it had so many layers. I was not at the ending. I was like, what? Did not expect whatsoever. And honestly, because I'm such a baby, I think the one line that really stuck with me, and you're like, whose quote is that? And he was like, Winnie the Pooh. And I was like, yay.
So sweet.
I was like, Winnie the Pooh. Okay, let me focus on Winnie the Pooh.
Yeah, Winnie the Pooh. Yeah, let's live in that. Let's live in that space. What do you do, turning it to you in terms of someone who struggled with anxiety, I'm guessing most of your life? What are your tools that you use to help quiet down the mind and that kind of fight or flight version?
I mean, definitely like breathing. But when I think about like my dogs, or I think about recently I've been doing EMDR, and that has been life changing. And we literally just last week, it's a lot of you tap in and you breathe and you go to a place that you've created, like yourself, and you just breathe into it. And it's going to a really safe place that your nervous system will be calm in. And again, I don't think I have gotten that way until the past year. Recently have I learned how to really hone in on that. And also turning my anxiety into excitement. It's the same type, you're getting the same type of feeling, but like you have to tell your brain, like, I'm not anxious. I'm excited. I'm really
I
like
love that.
flipping the switch, you know? Or I just pretend that I'm more like Gilmore and I'm okay. Yeah, it's hard being an anxious person. Like the what ifs and the anxiety and OCD are so hand in hand and it's automatic. So like you don't really have
Mm-hmm.
control over it, you know? It's just like
Mm-hmm.
you get one what if and 30 more pile on top. And then you
Yep.
have to find a way to just like cut the cord. I'll go for a walk and I'll be like, okay, let me find 5 things that are red. Let me name 3 things that I hear.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of like the cheesy stuff people tell you to do, but it works, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, I could imagine too in this movie with somebody who has a panic disorder and you're doing things that are so intense and your body doesn't know you're acting because if you're in it, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I could imagine those were some pretty intense days.
They were wildly intense. Yeah, and the whole everything was intense about this film.
Yeah.
I would love to say that it was just this kind of smooth, that we had some smooth moments, but I would say it was challenging from the very beginning to the very end.
Yeah.
And thankfully, all of those challenges led to having a movie that we can be proud of, because I think it would have been a big bummer if it had been that challenging and we didn't like the final product. I'm very grateful for the experience and everything that it has taught me, for sure.
Yeah. And also, when you said it was low budget, I'm like, where? I did not feel low budget. I was like, this is incredible. What are you? I was like, the second, like the credits start and the music was so good. Like the
Yep, yep.
score, incredible.
Mark and Eric Desiderio, like they really crushed it.
There's a lot of people who like will listen and go, how do I make my own movie? You know, what is one of the biggest things you're like, okay, I'm starting this new film. I am producing and directing it. This is a non negotiable on how to start.
Mhm. Yes, yes. It was first, it's that. It's
Mhm.
happening. I don't care what. Like when I'd made that decision that year, I was like, I'm directing something this year. It's happening. It didn't end up being the one I thought it would be, but I still made it happen. I think when I first started writing, I was writing huge, multi million dollar budget scripts that
Mhm.
I never could have made as my first one. So I'm really about, what resources do I actually have? What location do I know I can
Mhm.
film in? Who in my network of creatives would be down for this, knowing it's going to be a skeleton crew, knowing it's going to be stressful and time consuming, and just like, who's going to be down for that?
Right.
We thought we were going to make a $5,000 film, and it
Mm.
just kept snowballing and getting bigger. I mean, our budget was still relatively like almost nothing, but it was
Mhm.
much more than we had anticipated.
Yeah.
I wish I had known, you don't stop spending money when you finish post production. There is so much money that goes into deliverables when you're delivering your movie to distribution. You got to create a budget for your marketing, because that's how people end up seeing your film. And we didn't have that. And it makes a difference.
Mhm.
So, like you said, number one, just know you're going to do it and don't let anything stop you. If you get a no, that means that there's a door with a yes on it somewhere else and you just have to find it. And just keep it small, keep it contained, figure out what you have, what you can use, and go from there. And then just knock off those little steps. Do you have a good story? Make sure that script is solid. Because if you are going to dedicate probably anywhere from 3 to 7 years of your life,
Yeah.
make sure you've got a story that you feel confident in telling, and that you're confident with the people that you're working with as well, because it's going to be 3 to 7 years of your life.
Yeah. That's commitment and that is
It's
love and that is
commitment.
artistry and that is so,
Yes.
so admirable. I am always just like, so like, wow, these people are really doing it. Like, that's fucking amazing because it's hard
Yeah,
work. So,
it is hard work.
congratulations. Because,
Thank you. I mean, the big ups, like big shout out to the team. I mean, could not have done it without Mark and Cam and Maya, and just all of our post production people who hopped on, even though they made way bigger films than our little movie. So super
yeah.
grateful.
What's a theme from this movie or message from this movie you hope people take away?
I want people to have more questions when they leave the film. And I think we have these ideas about relationships and what they could look like and fantasies about them, and to really question how much we feel safe and how much we trust the partnerships that we're in. Do we have good communication?
Mhm.
I think that's a big one. People like have these fantasies about these things, but they can't even be honest with themselves. How are they going to be honest with their partners?
Right.
You should be sitting in discomfort afterwards. It's not like a feel good movie.
Yeah.
What did
Right.
you take from it?
Yeah, communicating and trusting in your partner. And, there's things that we don't honor within ourselves. And when we don't do that, then we're doing a disservice to the relationship for sure. And I also
Hmm.
love, like, asking questions and like the theme of curiosity in there. Once you run out of curiosity, you're old, like Kim's
Yeah.
character had said.
Yes.
And I had a moment where I was like, oh, cool, I'm not old then. Because I feel still very, very curious about a lot.
Good.
Yeah.
Same. I want to be that way till the very end.
Yeah. I never want to feel like I know it all. And I still feel this little kid who's still learning so much all the time.
Same. I actually don't really trust people who act as if they know everything.
I know.
I'm like,
Yeah.
even if you get highly specialized in one area, there is still more to learn. It's still going to evolve. And you're highly specialized in that one area. There's
Hmm.
all that this around that one area that you don't know shit about.
Yes. Literally. It's so funny. I wrote down complete off the rail topic, but like, I put down, I'm learning that girls are actually nice because you and Maya were so nice in your emails. It kind of goes with like, I still feel like a little kid who's learning things because I grew up and I didn't have a ton of like nice women, like
Mhm.
encounters in my early adult life. And now I am learning like women can be really supportive and really amazing. And like my core group
Yes.
is like so incredible. And so still learning how to have those type of really beautiful relationships with other women is so fun to do and like so rewarding. So I thought that's just like totally a non.
No, I hear you
Yeah.
with that. I used to consider myself like a boys' girl. I was like, girls are,
Mhm.
dramatic and
Yeah.
catty and
Uh-huh.
mean, and guys are just easier. And then I started meeting incredible women.
Yeah.
And I was like, wait a second.
Yeah.
These women are awesome.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
now
Yeah.
I have, so many women in my life who inspire me, who I admire, who I can't imagine not having in my life. And it makes me really proud to be a woman. And
Really
exactly what you
show
just said.
really show up, which is
Yep.
so incredible to experience. But yeah, I guess it goes in theme of like, we don't know everything. And as we get older, like to still stay curious and still stay open. And
Hmm.
it's just so important. And I think in my mid 30s is when I'm really, really learning these lessons.
Yeah.
Now,
And you're going to keep learning them.
I know it's so crazy, but it feels good. And I feel like the past couple months of my life have all been like this journey of honoring the little girl in me while stepping into my
Yes.
power. And
100%.
I feel like a lot of my friends and people I'm meeting are on that wavelength too. Because like
Hmm.
with making your own movie, you're honoring yourself. You're honoring that girl who felt like she wanted to do this part and write these parts for herself and get this character out. And I just think it's so amazing. I think it's beautiful. And
Oh, thank you so
congrats.
much. I really appreciate that. And congrats with everything you're building too. It's
Thank
so,
you.
I love seeing humans and women especially
Yeah.
just going out on a limb, being like, I have this idea, I have this thought, and then the idea just keeps building
Yeah.
into something else until next thing you know, you're doing it. And you're like, oh, wow,
Yeah. You're
I
like,
could
oh,
do this. I'm doing it.
exactly. It's so fun. Now, before you go, I want to
Hmm.
ask you, what
Yes.
is a piece of advice that someone has given you that you've really taken in and brought with you in each project or throughout life? Or what's something that you've learned in this industry or life that you would want to share with others?
I would say that progress is not a light switch. So often in life, we want to be somewhere else than where we are right now, and we want it to happen instantaneously. Progress happens much more slowly than that. And it's in little daily decisions, it's in different attitudes that we take. And slowly over time, that starts building that bigger vision that we've always dreamt of. And like I said, I was never a patient person. I couldn't even see when I was improving because what I wanted was still so far away from where I was. So I think really taking the time to honor how far you've come, to honor the present, and to be excited about whatever you're building for the future, knowing that it may still take time.
Mm. Oh my God. That spoke to my literal, I was just like, oh, needed to hear that.
Yes.
So good. So good. You are so well spoken too. I was just like, yeah, keep talking. What anything you tell me
Thank
to
you
do, I'm
back
gonna
at
do
you.
it right now.
I'm loving having this conversation with you.
So
It's
good.
it's so easy.
Yes. Oh my gosh. This was so fulfilling. I am so inspired by you. And like, you are just like, you radiate just so much good energy. And I'm so
That's very
thankful.
sweet.
I'm
Thank
so
you. And so do
thankful.
you. My heart feels so full right
Good.
now.
I'm so glad
I
we got to do this.
I love leaving a conversation being more energized and more inspired.
Yeah, it's
Yes.
crazy
So
because
thank
like
you.
I also feel like when I get so present in these conversations, I feel like I blacked out because like because you're just like so in it,
Yeah.
like I didn't even realize we're still like we're sorry, we're doing a podcast instead of just like actually face
I
to
have the
face having a
same. I had that
conversation.
happen multiple times. There's a little
Yeah.
surreal moment where I'm looking at you and I'm like, oh, right, we're doing a
Yeah,
podcast
yeah,
too.
yeah. Like this is being recorded. Oh, I should but I'm like so in it. I'm like, whoa.
Yeah.
But I feel like that, like when you're that like happy and present, that you almost do forget more,
Mm-hmm.
which is a good
And
thing.
that's what we should strive for is
I
being
know, right?
present in the things
So
that we love
present.
to do.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Okay, well, everybody can catch this on Amazon, correct?
Yes, Amazon and Apple.
Oh, Apple too. Nice. Very cool. Congratulations. This was
Thank you
so
so much.
amazing. I'm so
This was a
happy.
lovely conversation.
Yes, I'm so happy we got to do this. I hope that we can connect in real life soon. Be so
Would
amazing.
absolutely love that.
Yes, 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 yes. How long are you in Rio for?
I don't know, at least another month and a half, and then I'll go from there to figure out how much more shooting I have left.
Yeah, you let your place go in LA, so you're just a tumbleweed blown in the wind, baby.
I have not been a tumbleweed in so long, and it feels
Nice.
so good.
Nice, nice, nice. Wait, last question. Long
Yes.
day. Long day, you're stressed, you just want to decompress. What TV show are you putting on?
So I probably would put on a movie
Mm.
instead of a show. I would probably watch something like Interstellar or V for Vendetta. Oh, which you truly, I like to just be thrown into worlds, and which is hilarious because the
Yeah.
one with you where you're talking to Cam, he went off on a V for Vendetta thing as well. I was like, oh, that's my favorite movie. I love
So
that movie.
funny.
And you're like,
Space.
no, it's anxious,
Yeah,
anxiety.
like you said Interstellar. I've never seen it. I think Armageddon traumatized me. So incredible movie, incredible score, but space freaks me out so much because I don't like being far away from home.
Oh, so cute.
So I'm like, I just feel like that's really far away from home, and I don't know if I could do that. And like everybody's talking about Project Hail Mary now, and I hear it's like one of the best films that's ever gonna be, but I'm like, space really makes me anxious.
Yeah, you're like, we just gotta stay here on Earth. Let's just keep our feet on the
Let's
ground.
just say the Warner Brothers lot.
I love it.
All right, I adore you. Thank you so much.
I adore you
This
too.
was
Thank you.
amazing. All right,
Have a great rest of your day.
best day. Bye.